And columnist for U.S. News and World Report, Gloria Borger, and Maria Teresa Peterson, founder and executive director of Voto Latino, a nonpartisan voter education and outreach group. Good to have you all. So, David, this 30-minute infomercial did not run on CNN, but ran a bunch of other places. Was it effective?
Well, I thought there were aspects of it one could criticize. I thought there were just an awful lot of promises about what I'm going to do and not enough sense of, wow, you know, this is going to be much tougher than it looks and no call for sacrifice. So there were times the music I thought was a little dramatic. But at the risk of gushing, I must tell you, overall, it was extremely well done. I thought it was effective as a political statement. And what was striking about it, Anderson, the reason I tend to sort of the gushing side is that in a campaign which has had these negative overtones, he didn't say one word about John McCain. He didn't say one word of criticism about his opponent and his opponent's team.
Because, I mean, they're basically throwing the kitchen sink at him right now.
Right.
Sure. So he didn't address that.
He stood up there and just talked about, here's what we're going to do together. And it was very much a conversation about the struggling middle class and what he intends to do, done in a serious, very thoughtful way. So much so that if I can take one more second on this, it really suggests that the British system of giving time to the candidates right at the end and just giving them a 30-minute block and saying, you can do what you want, would be a good thing in America, too.
Gloria, it might have been effective as a television event. In terms of a bump in the polls, will it make any difference?
You know, I'm not sure. First of all, there are maybe 5% undecided voters out there. I thought it was really well done, Anderson. I think it pushed every button it needed to push. But the question is, will it change any minds out there? And I'm not sure. I think if you're a soft Republican and you're sitting out there and watching Barack Obama, maybe a little bit, but...
Maria Teresa, you blogged on AC360.com that this was his most daring gamble of the campaign. How so?
Well, it was daring because everybody had their eyes on him to see whether or not. I mean, he's been he's been very steady all the way up to this point, and to actually take out airtime, he opens himself up to criticism. And I think Gloria was touching a little bit about that. But what's really quite interesting is that his appeal was very much to the blue-collar worker who's just not quite comfortable yet for casting their vote for Barack Obama. And this commercial, this gave him an opportunity really to connect to the American people and to soften him and make him accessible to most folks. At the same time, making him commander-in-chief by having him come out as if he were in the Oval Office.
David, what do you make of the story that McCain and Palin are now pushing about the LA Times and about this Palestinian-American professor? Is this just one of the things in the kitchen sink that they're trying to throw? I mean, is there any...
How much deeper is the kitchen sink? That's right.
I mean, we just did a fact check on it, and it seems, you know...
There wasn't very much there, Tom Foreman said. I mean, either way, I mean, the counter-accusations from the Obama campaign don't seem to hold up very much water either. But I have to tell you, I think it's another one of those missed opportunities. This is a big campaign with big questions facing the country, and I think that John McCain, who did well tonight on Larry King, it was one of his most effective interviews. He was relaxed. Dan Rather was just praising him. And I think if they could bring more of that John McCain out, but come to grips with what's going on now and what he plans to do about it.
But in terms of the undecided voters, I mean, there's still a chunk of undecided voters out there, even in a lot of these battleground states, and if they're undecided, they presumably still have doubts about both candidates. And if the McCain campaign is raising enough doubts about Barack Obama,
that's what they're trying to do with all of these stories, whether it's Bill Ayers or this most recent story. They want to raise a question mark. So you go in that voting booth, you close the curtain or whatever it is, and you say, can I really risk my vote on Barack Obama? That's what they want. I don't think this does it. I don't think this gets you there, largely because of the economy. I think John McCain should be making his economic
They're chipping away. They are coming a little closer, but the time is running out, and the lead is in the battleground
Maria
stage.
Teresa, you agree with that?
I completely agree, and I think what happens is that time and time again, they've been trying to make sure that Barack Obama really marry him with this whole notion of being a terrorist. And I think the American public is kind of old and said, you know, give us solutions, give us answers to our economic woes. And that's where McCain, I think, can actually highlight perhaps his economic plan, and then actually have an opportunity and a shot at winning the White House next Tuesday.
How do you think these undecided, David, how do you think these undecided voters are going to go? Is there
I think the undecided voter group right now is pretty small. Dick Morris on the Republican side, he thinks they're older and they're going to split for McCain. The Obama people think they're going to split for them. You know, the honest answer is, Anderson, though, if Obama's up 51, 52, 53%, they could all go to McCain, and Obama still wins the state. You know, so I think Obama is going to get I think he's going to get some healthy share. We see no evidence they're going to break heavily.
There's also some talk that these early voters are just the folks who vote you know, all the time anyway. It's not necessarily these new voters coming into it.
Right, but I think you can't underestimate the importance of Obama's turnout machine, their get out the vote machine, whether it's an early voting or whether it's going to be on election day, and that could be a big margin of difference for him. I mean, I was told the other day that they've got 200,000 volunteers in Florida alone. It was 100,000, now it's 200.
Yeah, they're asking a lot of the early voters to go to.
We're going to have more with our panel throughout this. Actually, we're on for the next 2 hours because we are going to be bringing you a lot of the comments John McCain made on Larry King.